Welcome to the second episode of Indian Girls Stateside. Today is the 13th day of August 2017, and in today's episode, we are going to read a story of ancient India, specifically tied to the state of Tamil Nadu. The name of the story is Kumanan's Sacrifice. King Kumanan ruled with such goodness that the tiger sat with the deer and the hunger fled from the land. Poets came from afar to sound his praise, and when he heard a pleasing line, his delight poured forth with gifts of gold. Now in his kingdom, where happiness walked, there was one man with a jealous heart, the king's own brother, Hamonan. He wished to rule, to have great wealth and power, all for himself. So he began to plot Kumanan's death. Word of his plan soon reached the ears of the king, who called for his brother. "Dear brother," he said kindly, "I have heard that you wish to be king and would kill me to have the crown. Please take this throne. I want no bloodshed or struggle. I shall go willingly to the woods." He stepped down from the throne, then walked simply out of the palace and towards the quiet forest. Hamonan took over and ruled with cruelty, taxing the people unfairly, ignoring their needs while spending his time in idle pursuits. Outside the palace, the earth mourned, the rains stopped, the cows bellowed in distress. Hamonan was hated and feared by all. Meanwhile, Kumanan lived peacefully in the forest. He bathed amongst bamboos, lit fires of wood from wild elephants, and plucked leaves for food. After some time, the wise men and poets who had adorned his court found their way to the forest. There they sang for him once again and offered poems. In the woods he had no gold, so he gladly gave them forest fruits and flower garlands. Hamonan grew worried when he heard of all who flocked to Kumanan. He may be planning to overthrow me, he thought, and even if he isn't, he'll become a threat to me as his followers grow. I will not rest until he's dead. Hamonan then offered a reward of 10,000 gold coins for his brother's head. But no one wanted the reward, for everyone still loved Kumanan. Months passed. One day a very poor poet wandered through the woods, seeking Kumanan. He stood before the former king and played his harp, singing of his wife, who cooked grains from the garbage. Kumanan wished to help the man, who had so little, to give him more than just flowers. Yet he had nothing else, so grew sad. Then suddenly he smiled. He could give his head. "Come, my friend," he said happily. "Take this to the king right now. He will reward you well." Then he picked up a large knife and held it, about to cut his own throat. "No, no, stop!" cried the poet. Those near Kumanan rushed to his side, pulling the knife from his hands. "Sir," said the poet, "I could never take your life, but I will take your idea and bring the head your brother so desires. Thank you." He returned to his home, found a banana stalk, and sculpted it into the rough shape of a head. Covering the head with a cloth, he sprinkled fresh goat's blood upon it and ran to the palace. "I have your brother's head, as you wished, sir," he said to Hamonan. "Now reward me well." As the poet thrust the plate forward, Hamonan smelled the scent of death and saw fresh blood. Under the oath, he saw the shape of a nose, the outline of a face. He fainted. When at last he regained consciousness, he seemed a different man. "Why did I have my own brother killed? What horrible crime have I committed? My life too I'll take," he cried as he raised his sword. "Stop," cried the poet, "and hear my news of joy. Look carefully once more at his head." He pulled the cloth away. Hamonan stopped his tears, stared at the head, then slowly started to laugh. Others joined in, greatly relieved. The poet was well rewarded, and so was the kingdom, for Hamonan now knew who should rule, and called for his brother's return. Days later, as the sun smiled, Hamonan led a joyous march into the forest. He bowed before his brother, begging him to rule again. Kumanan agreed and ruled for many years in peace, with his brother as his closest and best adviser. Under their trust and just rule, the sun shared its strength, the rains fell as they should, and the land blossomed once more. Thank you so much for listening to Indian Girl Stateside, and I hope you guys can subscribe.